everyone. Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays with Stephanie. I am Stephanie Buckland, your host, and I am delighted and very excited to be finally getting to my interview with my friend and colleague, Shoshana Roller. Shoshana, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Stephanie.
Yay, I'm so excited to dive into this conversation. Nutrition is something that is very near and dear to my heart. So, this is a fabulous time to be discussing this as well. So, I would love for you to give our audience an introduction of who you are, what you're up to in the world, and what kind of magic shows up as a result.
Okay, well, my name is Shoshana Roller. I have, let's see, a bachelor's degree in home economics and a master's degree in nutrition, and part of a master's degree in food service management from NYU. And as you can see, I'm from New York, right? You could tell with my accent. So that's kind of my background. Oh, and by the way, I'm also a rabbi. So I have my fingers in a lot of pots, you could say. But so let me tell you a little bit about me. Heart disease runs in my family, okay? But until recently, until it hit me hard, I really lived in denial, okay? I was 12 years old when my father had his first heart attack. That was back in 1963. Okay, now you know how old I am. So anyway, and it didn't mean much to me. But then later on, I learned that his father died of a heart attack. My father died of a stroke after several heart attacks at the age of 48. And my brother, younger than me, died at the age of 63, again, from heart disease. He'd had several stents put in, and I guess they didn't work. So, and then here I am at the ripe old age of 71, having not my first heart attack, but my second heart attack, okay?
Oh, wow.
My first heart attack, I found out when I took actually an EKG, electrocardiogram, at the age of 65 when I became eligible for Medicare, okay? So, and then I was referred to a cardiologist, and they did all kinds of tests, and they couldn't decide whether I did have a heart attack. They thought I had some damage, but they really didn't know. And frankly, I couldn't put my finger on what happened, how it happened. I had no idea, absolutely no idea. So then, still, I was the same old Shoshana, still living in denial. Sometimes I think that's my middle name, and a lot of people live in denial,
Sure.
or
Yeah.
you don't recognize what's going on. Now, I know that some people, well, some women especially, okay, women, when they have symptoms of a heart attack, they don't know it. That's why so few women survive their first heart attack,
Oh,
because
wow.
could be back pain, indigestion. How many times have you had these symptoms that that don't mean anything to you? Oh, it's just indigestion. Well, my thing was, I've been short of breath for a lot of years, but I ascribe that to my seasonal allergies,
Mm-hmm.
because I would get all congested and hard to breathe, and until, well, the summer before I had my heart attack, I went with my friend, my second heart attack. I went with my friend to the beach. We went out to Oceanside, love it over there. And I was so out of breath. And Shoshana, you're out of breath and you can't breathe. And oh, no, it's nothing. It's just my allergies. So anyway, um, you know, I'm a firm believer in God. And I feel that God, if you don't listen to him the first time, he'll kind of hit you over the head,
Yeah.
right? And if you miss that one, then I don't know what happens, what the third one is. But, you know, on January 27th, 2023, I had a major heart attack. I had 4 blockages.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, and I couldn't ignore it. You know, I had come home from a networking meeting, and my doctor I hadn't been feeling well. It was a breakfast meeting. I hadn't been feeling well, and I really didn't want to eat breakfast, but I did. And I got home, went into my home office, started to meditate, and decided that I was having a heart attack.
Hmm.
I had chest pains, classic men's symptoms, chest pains on the left side of my chest, down my left arm. So I walked into the living room where my husband was watching cartoons. He loves Looney Tunes, right? So anyway, I walked in and I said, and this is where I was really stupid. I said, honey, take me to the ER. He says, why? I said, well, I think I'm having a heart attack. He says, now. I said, well, yeah, now, or I'll call 911. I should have just called 911, gotten the ambulance and go. Ladies and gentlemen, whoever listening to this, if you think you're having a heart attack, just call 911, get an ambulance, and get yourself over to the hospital, to the ER. So,
How long did it take to convince your husband to take you to the hospital?
um, about 45 seconds. So
Okay.
anyway, so we went to the hospital, and then, well, they diagnosed me, and the cardiologist there wasn't sure. I see I have a lot of comorbidities. They call that, like type 2 diabetes, obesity,
Mhm.
what else? High blood pressure. Okay. And stuff. So he looked at my chart and they ran some tests and he decided, no, he can't do it. So they transferred me to another hospital locally, where I met the most amazing cardiothoracic surgeon. And he studied my case and he said, yeah, we can do this. So 4 days later, on January 31st, 2023, he walked into my room, the cardiologist walked into my room at about 2 p.m. and told me, well, the OR is available. You ready? I said, well, I guess so, because I hadn't really given it much thought about this surgery, what it entails, and, very blessed to not know anything about it. I'm so glad I didn't know what to ask. So anyway, my husband had already left the hospital. He had been there for most of the day. So when I'm on the bed being wheeled towards the OR, I called my husband and I said, honey, guess what? I'm having my surgery. So he goes, now? Famous word, now. Yes, honey, now. So he came to the hospital. I didn't see him. I was already in the OR by the time he came. But also on the way, I called my cardiologist that I'd been seeing regularly, because I didn't remember. Everything seemed to happen like so fast. And things happened on a Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And this was Tuesday.
Wow.
And I thought, I don't even remember if I told him I was even in the hospital with a heart attack. So I called my cardiologist, very, 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 very lovely man. And so one of the girls at the front desk answered the phone, and I asked him, oh, he can't come to the phone right now. So I said, you know what? I think he's going to want to come to the phone, because this might be the last time I ever talk to him. So not knowing, right? I mean, it's not like getting your tonsils out, but even that's risky sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we got on the phone and we chatted, and he said, don't worry, everything's going to be all right, and blah, blah, blah. And so then by that time already, they had put in the IV, and I was getting a little jazzy. Okay, Dr. Grossman, um, I'll talk to you again soon. So hung up. And then that was the last thing I remember before the surgery.
Wow.
But it was, for me, it was a life-saving surgery because I had no other chance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Wow. What a journey.
yeah, and it's not over.
Right. Yeah. So at what point did you realize that you could utilize your understanding of nutrition to start healing your body?
Well, after my heart attack, I had I had always known about nutrition and inflammation in the body, and how nutrition can heal inflammation. But it takes a long time. It's not something, if I tell you, okay, have this every day for breakfast, this every day for lunch, and this for dinner, and it's not going to it's not going to mean much to you because it takes a long time to actually really start noticing a difference in, like, in your body pain,
Mm,
okay, or you know all these issues that I had were all inflammation. I mean, type 2 diabetes, that's a big one. Give up the sugar and low carbs, and so
mhm.
I knew all about that. When I was back in school, I really thought about becoming a registered dietitian. And what stopped me was that I felt that I could not handle the science. I'm not a science person. You had to take microbiology, biochemistry, organic chemistry, and all this stuff. And my head was not made for science or math. But
Mm.
I just took what I had to take. So that's really what stopped me from becoming a a, a registered dietitian. So, but now I'm a nutritionist. And what made the difference? Well, in 1983, my husband and I drove from New York to California with a 2-year-old and 2 cats, to relocate to California. And it was when I went to California that I began, nothing is ever an accident. And so I had a situation that was actually carjacked while I was
Oh,
on my paper route. So
oh,
this,
wow.
you know, and so I went into therapy, and um, the therapy, everything happens for a reason, right? No accidents. So
Yeah.
my therapist was very into supplements and stuff. And that's where I realized what they don't teach you when you study nutrition is that supplements can help. They can help you with your health, and that you need to have good quality supplements. That's
Hmm.
important. I mean, don't go for something that's the cheapest that you can get because it may not work. And then you'll be all distressed and upset, and I wasted all this money. And, but like I say, when you're using supplements, or you're eating food, the whole thing is shopping around the perimeter of the supermarket
Hmm.
for all the fresh stuff, but your produce. But the reality of life is that um, I guess a registered dietitian would assume that you're getting everything you need. But the truth is that when you're shopping for fresh produce, you really don't know what's in it. You don't. I mean, you can read it online or in a book and say, well, broccoli has this, this, and this, but
Hmm.
does it really? Because the problem is, we call it agribusiness. Okay. Um, in the Bible, it says that you have to let your fields lie fallow for 7 years or something like that. And that's the
Hmm.
truth, because you need time for the nutrients to regenerate in the soil, right?
Right. So that's the
So,
crop rotations and
yeah, exactly.
biodynamic farming and even permaculture are answers to this problem that are basically this monocrop problem. Yeah, I completely understand. It
So,
is a
you
problem.
know, that, you know, you may you may think it's funny, but since my surgery, I've been very tired. And because it takes a long time to recuperate from that surgery, a
Hmm.
very long time. And nobody can say, everybody's experience is different, but nobody can say that one thing, oh, it worked for me, it'll work for you. No, and that's not necessarily the truth. But I will tell you that I went out and bought at the store two two bottles of supplements. And one is freeze-dried fruits in a capsule, and one is freeze-dried veggies in a
Hmm.
capsule. So since I have to watch out how much fruit I eat, right, because it's full of carbs and not particularly good for your type 2 diabetes. So I decided to buy them, and I started to use them. And I was able to give up my afternoon nap because there's obviously something in those vegetables or fruits in those little capsules that I needed.
Hmm.
So, and they work great. And then my husband, who works at a job, who is on his feet all day and he's tired and blah, blah, blah. And so I said, honey, why don't you try these? And sure enough, he tried them one day before work. And he got home and he was full of zing and, not dead tired like he usually is. So there's a lot to be said for supplements, the right supplements. Um,
Totally agree. Yes.
and I think this particular supplement is different from vitamins.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Because fruits and vegetables, they have all different kinds of qualities to them, right? Minerals and vitamins. And so rather than maybe taking a multivitamin, might help, but I don't know. I've never had success with them myself. But then I said everybody's different because we all have different chemistries in our bodies, right? So things work differently.
Sure. Sure. So I'm wondering, uh, did you start changing other things in the way that you eat, your nutrition, in your practices after having the surgery?
Well, yes, I try to go to the gym at least 3 times a week. Exercise is very important, especially when you're dealing with your circulation. And I'm not necessarily meaning it doesn't have to be aerobic exercise, although walk. If you can't walk, ride a bicycle, which is
Hmm.
what I do because I have back issues. And so one of the best things I can do is ride my bicycle. And I went to the doctor one time and he said, so uh, what else are you doing? Oh, well, I'm going to the gym. Oh, 3 times a week. And he said, oh, you ride the bike? I said, yeah. He said, how long? 5 minutes? So I said, no, 15. And he had this big broad grin on his face and smiled at me. So, if you can do 15 minutes on a bike 3 or 4 times a week, that's awesome.
Hmm.
I actually have an adult tricycle that I can ride in the street, but this kind of weather, no, I leave it in the garage.
Yeah.
Too hot. Unless you want to get up at like maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. No, I don't. I need my sleep. So, so exercise is very important. And it could be also, you could do chair yoga. That's very good for toning your body. And you don't
Hmm.
have to be getting up and, or join a class at the gym. Um, People on Medicare, like I am, most people have a choice of a program like Silver Sneakers, which I belong to, But there are other
Mm-hmm.
programs too associated with other health insurance plans. And then, so you can join a gym, most gyms for free. And so you can go as many times as you want. You don't need to have a trainer. You can just go, you can go to the aquafit classes, aerobics in the water, or you could do other aerobics classes that they have even for seniors like me. So you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to be an athlete. And you can start at your own level. So, people, if the class is a little bit more advanced and you need to sit down to catch your breath, go do that because they have chairs there and at least they did it at LA Fitness. I don't know about some of the others, but that's closest to my house. So um, that's where I go for free. For my trainer, well, I haven't been in training for a while because I've been in physical therapy for one thing or another. So, but my trainer's over at Anytime Fitness and he's wonderful. He's a senior himself. So
Huh.
I can really relate to him, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. So other than the freeze-dried nutrients, the capsules with the fruits and veggies,
Right.
what other changes have you made since the surgery?
Well, shopping differently, cooking differently. Um, One thing is important to make sure, especially if you have heart disease, to make sure you're eating the right fats. Like, for
Mm,
example, avocado. Avocado is a great fat. It's also a fruit, but we look
mm,
at it for its being a good fat. Okay, avocado oil, olive oil, um, different things like that are particularly good for heart disease. Or some say the Mediterranean type diet, which incorporates a lot of olive oil and different things, and stay away from stay away from foods that cause inflammation. There are different kinds
mhm.
of foods. There's the ones that cause inflammation and the ones that fight inflammation. So you want to use the ones that fight inflammation. That means no frozen TV dinners, cook everything. But, like I have an Instapot and I can cook up a turkey breast, right? My husband and I both like white meat. So I can cook up a turkey breast in no time and we'll have it for several nights, or if you
Hmm.
don't like leftovers, portion it out, put it in the freezer and take it out when you need it. So
Right.
yeah.
Absolutely. I've personally been an advocate for veganism for a very long time
Uh-huh.
because I know the power of food and I know
Right.
that you can heal your body with food and it has to be the right foods.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah. So how do you feel about like organic versus conventional fruits and vegetables?
Well, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people swear by organic and you know, a lot of people say it's a bunch of hooey, but if it works for you, I think it's good.
Yeah.
So not really any comment, just if, some people feel that they can't afford organic, but I submit that if you give up all the crap, right?
Oh yeah.
You can afford anything you want because crap is expensive, cake, cookies, ice cream. Uh,
Definitely.
that's one thing
Definitely.
about eating the right foods because I counsel people as well. And it's like, oh, I can't afford this. I can't afford that. So, but you can afford to go to Starbucks every day and have some kind of drink that has tons of sugar in it. And that's not good for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, think about that and think about maybe giving that up gradually if you can't go cold turkey and see how much money you save. Maybe
Oh yeah.
put that money in a jar and at the end of a month, see how much money you saved.
Yeah, I've actually made the suggestion, well, if you love your espresso that much, maybe you should buy an espresso machine and have your own espresso at home so you don't have the
Exactly.
expense,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that espresso machine pays off itself with the amount you were spending in Starbucks. So it
Yes.
ends up, saving you money in the long run. But so I'd love to hear about your perspective on denial and how that is related to like heart disease, the experience. Like I understand wanting to put your head in the sand,
Yeah,
and not
exactly.
deal with something that's really stressful. I get it.
Yeah, and until until God hit me over the head with that heart attack. Not me. I mean, I outlived everybody in my family, except for my mother's brother, who he passed away in, it was 2019. He was 89. He was the oldest. He also had heart disease.
Oh
But,
wow.
you know, and so just denial. The title of my book that I'm writing is Denial is Not a River in Egypt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people, they deny that they're in denial. They don't know,
Yeah.
they don't recognize it. I'll
Yep.
tell you another thing. I thought that I was well on my way to health, good health, until about 2 weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago. I had an echocardiogram, just routine. And then a few days later, I thought I was fine, right? A few days later, on a Sunday morning, I get a call from my cardiologist, believe it or not. He's a keeper because he's just right on top of things. And so he called me and said, Shoshana, yeah. Well, I want to talk to you about your echocardiogram. I thought, uh-oh, what's going on? And he said, you have a blood clot in your heart, in the bottom of
Oh
your heart.
no.
Like, OMG. So he started me on Eliquis that very day. He called up Walmart, called in my prescription, and I've been on it ever since. But here I thought, oh, it's getting pretty smug, right?
Mm,
I survived 18 months so far, and now this happens. You
right.
just can't let your guard down. You have to
Mm,
you have to be, if your doctor doesn't give you certain tests like every 3 months or 6 months, and you're a heart patient, you better tell him, well, I want one, you know. I didn't
mm-hmm.
know the difference. So now one thing that I passed on to people who in my who are in my online support group that I visit, um, well, make sure you get an echocardiogram like maybe every 3 months, because this things like this happen. And well, so one of the symptoms when I looked it up is fatigue. Well, have I been any more fatigued than I really was? Well, no, not really. And so these things happen, and you can't be smug about it. You can't deny
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
You know?
Most definitely. I so how has your healing journey affected your relationships with your family and with I'm actually also curious about your relationship with your business.
Well, my family, my friends, especially my dear husband, oh my gosh, what he went through, because he was totally unprepared to be a caregiver
Hmm.
for me. And not that I needed so much care, but I opted to go straight from the hospital to a skilled nursing facility because one of my harvest sites, which is on my just kind of on the side or behind my left knee,
Mm-hmm.
um, it was constantly draining and it had to be packed. And I didn't feel that he was up to it. I know he wasn't up to it.
Yeah.
And because I'll tell you a story. unrelated to this. When I was pregnant with our second daughter, um, I was a bit up there. I was about 35, and so they wanted to do an amniocentesis. So he came in the room with me, and the doctor took out this long needle, getting prepared to stick it in my abdomen. And my husband, he looked at my husband turned absolutely green. That's good. You lay down on the floor. I don't need two patients. So
Aw.
anyway, so I knew my husband. So I decided that because the bedding had to be changed constantly because it was soaking through bandages and whatnot. So I decided to go to a skilled nursing facility. It's sometimes not the best place to be, but for me, it was a good choice. Um, if you have somebody at home, if you have that kind of situation, you have somebody at home who's good, you know, who, who can do that, well, that's fine. So you can go home, but I'm absolutely in favor of going to a skilled nursing facility because at that time, I don't know what's coming up with Medicare, but at that time, my Medicare plan paid for the first 20 days totally.
Hmm.
So, want to take advantage of it and like save your marriage or your relationship with a significant other or whoever, but God bless him. He's very supportive. My friends, oh my gosh, my friends came to visit me in the hospital. I had one friend who came out almost every day and bought me a Starbucks. Not that I asked for it, but she was being nice. So, and then some friends came to visit me um, in the skilled nursing facility. In fact, my friend Marie Nugent, she's a doll. Anyway, she came with her sister. Her sister Ginger was visiting her, and so
Nice.
they came to visit me. And I said to them, they both sing beautifully, and I said, "Oh, can you sing Amazing Grace for me?" So they sang Amazing Grace, in the room,
Oh, wow.
and then we had a whole bunch of people coming by, like, who's singing that? And they made me feel a lot better, and it was really nice. So then somebody came in and said to me, "Are these your church ladies?" I said, "No, no, they're just good friends, but it was fun. So they brightened my day. So my friends have always been very supportive of me. Um,
Yeah.
that's why I post a lot about my condition um, on Facebook because I want people to know what I'm going through. You know,
Yeah.
people, as I said before, everybody's different, but this kind of surgery is like you never know what to expect. I had hallucinations. Um,
Wow.
I got neuropathy in my toes, a lot of different things. And
Yeah.
that happened that I never had before. Frozen shoulder. Oh, I couldn't figure out, nobody ever told me to expect it. And I couldn't figure out why I couldn't dress myself completely. In other words, fasten my bra on the back, right? So,
Hmm.
and so I bought bras that were easier to put on if you go, it's just my surgery. But then, oh, about a year after my surgery, well, that inability to move my left arm really turned into frozen shoulder. So I
Mm.
just got finished with PT and stuff like that. My shoulder's much better and I can dress myself now. So,
Oh,
but,
good.
well, but because you don't know that when you're under the anesthesia, they contort your body in all different kinds of ways so they can get to your heart. I mean, they cut open your chest, they
Hmm.
open your sternum, so they can
Hmm.
pull the bones aside and get to where they need to go. So,
Right.
there's no
Yeah.
time to waste. So they do things like that, I guess, and you don't know it until sometime later. And other people have other issues that happen to them. So, um, we'll commiserate on this group that I'm in. So it's really nice to know that you're not alone. And
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. So how would you say the other lifestyle changes, going to the gym, meditation, how has that helped your healing journey in the last year and a half?
Well, going to the gym, that activates your endorphins, right?
The
And
feel
makes you
good
feel better.
hormone.
Yeah. And makes you feel better.
Hmm.
So just inherently the way it is. I mean, don't go slow at it. I mean, after all, you have heart disease, but activity is very good for you. You know, when I posted in my group about the blood clot on my heart, so somebody said, "Oh, did you go to the hospital for that?" Well, no, there's no need to go to the hospital for that. You just doctor tells you, okay, you're going to take this medication, and we'll see what happens. In 3 months, we'll do another echo and see
Hmm.
if it's dissolved. So doctor himself is very positive about it.
Yeah.
So he's very supportive, and I really like that. Um, so
Awesome. Awesome. So how has life shifted? How has your life shifted
how has my
since
life shifted?
this
Well,
realization?
probably in a major way. You know, when I first moved here, I was a mobile notary public.
Hmm.
I had done that in California, and then I did it here when I moved here. And that required often a lot of driving, sometimes to the west side, sometimes to the east. Um, so, well, I gave that up about 5 years ago, and just been selling my products, my CBD products, and counseling people. I do nutritional counseling, can even set up uh, I'll call it eating program. I don't like to say diet because the word diet isn't diet, and that's why diets don't work. So but now after my surgery, I unfortunately don't go out a lot anymore. Well, especially this time of year because it's so hot. I only
Hmm.
do what I need to do, but I used to do a lot of networking. I'm probably at a house maybe almost every day of the week doing networking previous to my surgery, and I go to one particular group now that I like, and it's great. Um, we're all friends. We know each other because we've been together for so long. And I've been here in Gilbert for 18 years now.
Wow.
Uh, July, July, I think, no, June. No, we moved in January of '83 from California. We drove from California. Um, and So I've been here. That was 2006. So 18 years that we've been here, and getting used to the climate. I find that more than ever now, I'm very sensitive to the heat.
Yeah.
I've always been sensitive to the cold because I came from back east, and when you go to California, your blood automatically thins out. So that's what they tell me. So anyway, but I'm much more sensitive to the heat now, and so I don't go out. Um, Once a month, my biggest pleasure in life is to go play bunco once a month, which was last night. So, and you may think, well, this woman is so educated, blah, blah, blah. And she goes to play this mindless game, but it's not just that, it's the friendship, the
It's
camaraderie,
friendship, little
you know,
exercise, little
yeah,
bit of, yeah, social. We need social experience.
absolutely. Laughter and fun. We
Absolutely.
just laugh at each other all the time. It's
Yeah.
so it's a lot of fun. And I think I submit everybody should go out at least once a month and be social with your friends. A few months ago, Maria and I drove to Oceanside, California, and we went to the beach. We stayed right across the street from the beach, and it was just a lot of fun because you know what? When you're from the East Coast, um, if you're away, I'm used to being like, well, where we lived in Brooklyn, I was about 20-minute drive to the beach.
Hmm.
And so, or you could take the bus. And so I used to go to the beach all the time. Um, while I was a kid and a teenager, we go with our friends, but being so far is difficult for me and for a lot of other people too, to be landlocked like we are here in Arizona. And
Hmm.
I miss the beach. I miss the waves. I miss the sand. So, so I enjoy going at least once a year to the beach, take a drive.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So, what message would you like to share with others who might be experiencing heart disease, particularly women who are in denial, who are experiencing heart disease? What would you like to tell them?
well, be suspect of some of the things that you feel, it's okay. It's okay to go to the ER and say, I think I'm having a heart attack. And they'll give you an EKG, yes or no.
Hmm.
You know, they'd much rather you err on the side of caution. Okay. So, like, I was lucky that I got a second chance, maybe now a third chance, because my doctor was so astute in ordering the test.
Yeah,
Um, so, because I don't know what would have happened if I didn't know, you know. So anyway, I would say be aware of your body, listen to your body. That's so, so important. You know, like
absolutely.
for me right now, knowing what the women's symptoms are, sometimes I've had some sparkling water to drink instead of still water, and I'll get some gas. And I thought, wow, am I ever having a heart attack? Well, I just sit, be quiet, and just hang out. And oh, yeah, I burp and it goes away, so it's not a heart attack. But
Hmm.
if you have something, nausea that you're not used to, you're best off going to the ER or even, well, I hate to say urgent care because they don't really know a lot. But in a pinch, you can go to urgent care. But they'll most likely, the thing about urgent care is they're good for some things. But if you think you're having a heart attack, and they don't like the way the EKG looks, they'll probably send you to the ER anyway. So you might as well just go to the ER, cut out the middleman. And yeah, so you pay a little bit more, but you have peace of mind. Peace of mind is very
Yeah,
important. It's
it
just like
absolutely is.
one of the things we did was we bought into a program uh, that pays for your ambulance, also air ambulance and stuff, and it's good all over the world. And so
Hmm.
for $50 a month, my husband and I have the peace of mind knowing that we're never going to get an ambulance bill because ambulance here costs three.
Over $1,000. Yes.
And that's a lot of money. And it doesn't cost that much other places, just in Arizona, right? Because I had the occasion of going to the hospital once. I was in Florida, uh, Doral Beach, I think it was, and I had terrible abdomen pains, and there was no question that I needed to go to the hospital. So my friends called me an ambulance, and the bill from the volunteer fire department was only $125 for
Wow.
the ambulance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
after they took what the insurance paid them. So now I have peace of mind knowing that I won't have to pay for it. It's worth the $50 a month, believe me, even if I don't use it.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, I'd love to share a link for that when we post this video. I'll share that link
Yes,
as well. What
yes.
other resources or communities did you find helpful in your recovery?
Well, of course, I should, I'll have to give you the link to this group that this online group that I belong to, um, for, um, people with heart disease and their caregivers and their friends. And, and I'll send that to you. I have to look it up. I don't know it by heart. I just kind of, and I'm there. So, which is a great bunch of people, so much, um, they're so good, like I ranted, well, a couple of weeks ago, I ranted about how difficult it was um, to get in to see my primary care doctor, for my allergies. And, you know, I have to tell you that senior medical care in this country is going to hell in a handbasket, to put it mildly. Well, it's true, because
I
like
know.
my primary care doctor, well, first he was with, it was called Iora. Okay. Then One Medical Seniors bought out Iora. And now Amazon owns One Medical Seniors. This has become the Woolworth of medical care, right? Five and dime.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why I'm going to be switching uh, my group, my primary care doctor, come the first of the year. I don't have to wait till the first of the year, but I'm doing it because he's okay, but there's so much red tape. And it's like, okay, well, you have to speak, you want to speak to the doc, you want an appointment with the doctor that's outside of your regular appointments, right? Well, you have to go to the triage nurse and then she'll decide and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, just give me an appointment with the doctor. No, can't do that.
Seriously. Yeah.
So, I'm from the old school. I hate to say that, when doctors were in solo practice and you didn't need to speak to 20 people before you get to talk to the doctor or the doctor's nurse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, just like my thing about um, when I was going to the OR and I, wanted to talk to my cardiologist, it's like, she didn't want to put me through. Well, you better, you know, and I realized that you can't talk to every crackpot that calls, but I'm not a crackpot. I don't,
Right.
like with my primary care doctor, I usually never see them outside of my 3-month or 6-month visit, but this
Right.
is one time that I was choking from my allergies, help me, give me some, because the other thing is that I don't self-medicate anymore. Okay. There was a time, I'm an expert in herbs and essential oils, especially,
Mm-hmm.
and other things, and I know what to do with them. But now my question is, can I do it? Can I use it? Is it going to conflict with one of my medications? Is it going to conflict with maybe it's not good for my heart, maybe it'll cause arrhythmia or
Mm-hmm.
something else. So I really feel strongly that you need to, if you have that kind of situation, you really need to talk to a doctor, your doctor, because your doctor knows you best, and ask them if it's okay. Like, for example, a good example of that is um, what is it? My CBD. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I find that sucking on a sugar-free CBD lollipop with 20 milligrams of CBD, or taking a gummy. By the way, I only use vegan gummies. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't sell the other kind because I just feel that they're better. And a lot of the people who would want CBD, a gummy, would rather have a vegan gummy. So there's nothing artificial in it. So I'm very particular, selective about what I take, and I have to ask about it. So I finally did. I asked my primary care doctor. He said, sure, just monitor it. We don't want you to faint, because they're also taking a sleeping pill called trazodone, and it seemed to work well with the trazodone. So I got the okay for that. And then when I saw my heart doctor, I got his okay for it. So I feel safe in using it. But certain things like vitamin C, well, you can use that, but make sure you get something that's time released because it's what we say water soluble. So you
Hmm.
pee it out in the urine. So you need something that's time released so that it stays in your
It
body.
stays in your body. Yeah.
But like if you have something like I know vitamin E, vitamin E is a fat soluble vitamin. So it stays in your body because it stays in your fat. It hides there. So
Hmm.
so you could easily, not easily, but if you take too much, you could overdose.
Sure.
You know. So
Yeah.
what that would look like, I don't know, but I don't take vitamin E. So I take vitamin D because my last lab tests showed that I was a little deficient in my vitamin D, so I take vitamin D3. Now, some people say that you should take vitamin D3 with K2. Well,
Hmm.
I did until I had my heart attack and my surgery, because K2 is a blood thinner. Vitamin K is a blood thinner. So
Ah.
that's why, um, interestingly enough, after my surgery, when I was on warfarin, rat poison, right? It's rat poison. So
Hmm.
I was on warfarin and what do I want to say now? I was on warfarin. Oh, and I had to forego eating green leafy vegetables, okay? Because green leafy vegetables have vitamin K, which is a blood thinner.
Hmm.
So couldn't have that. So, but now with the blood thinner that I'm on now, Eliquis, people like it. It's pricey, but people like it because you're able to eat just about anything. You can have those
Hmm.
green leafy vegetables. So it's not
Yeah.
going to, so.
Okay. Well, uh, what else would you like to share today? Is there anything else that you'd like to cover?
Well, yes. Um, I'd like to tell people about CBD. I know a lot of people are afraid to use it. This is my salve. This is 5,000 milligrams. And it's
Hmm.
not, doesn't mean that every time you take a swipe, because you're not going to use a lot of this salve, is what I'm trying to say. You can use it more often, but you're just going to take a swipe. You're not going to take a bunch of it because it's a waste of money. Just a thin
Sure.
layer of it, wherever you hurt or whatever, wherever you need it, is fine. Because you can see, I don't know if you can see, but this has a very smooth top. And that's
Hmm.
because I just put the fatty part of your finger on it and just like that gloss over it and then rub it where you need it. So, and then that's 5,000 milligrams. And then I also have, this one is 10,000 milligrams. You can see it's almost gone. I use
Hmm.
that. I give out free samples, by the way, of the
Oh, okay.
5,000 milligrams. So, because I'm one of the few people, I guess, that would give out samples, because if you go to a dispensary, say, they're not going to give you a sample. You're going to have to buy it.
You have to buy it, right?
So, you know, because of what it costs, I like to give people a sample to see if it's going to work for them. If it's going to work, fine. If it's not going to work, well, that's fine. You haven't lost anything,
Yeah.
and it's cost effective for me too, because I'll even ship it to somebody,
Yeah.
without charge. So I feel that's very important. Customer service is very important. And
Hmm.
uh, in this business, there's not a lot of customer service.
Hmm.
And so anyway, so my website is cbdlady.us. And my email is info at cbdlady.us. And my phone number,
Hmm.
928 900-3065. So if you go to my website, you see a lot of the stuff that I have. There's also stuff that's not on there that I can get you. But you just have to stop somewhere. And also uh, a CBD for pets as well.
Oh, wonderful.
And one tip that I want to pass on is that if you buy, I have tinctures as well. So if you buy a tincture, nobody's going to tell you how to use it. I tell you how to use it. You take the dropper, you don't fill it up. Depending on what strength you have, there's broad spectrum and there's full spectrum. But depending on what strength you have, well, put the drop, first you shake it gently, then you put the dropper in and maybe start at the 1/4 line. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you take that for a few days and see how that works. If you need more, a few days after that, then you go to a half. You know, a lot of people don't even need to go for full dropper. And if you don't really need it, why waste it, right?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so that's what I like to tell people. But you buy it in the store. I mean, you can buy it in the grocery store now. You can buy it in Walmart. You can buy it in Safeway. You can buy it in Fry's. You can anywhere, right?
Yeah.
But, but you buy it, but nobody there knows how to use it. They're not a specialist in it. So, because my specialty prior to my surgery was really helping people with their physical pain. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things, essential oils that will help, and a whole bunch of stuff. So I really encourage people to go look at my website, call me, leave me a message, and I'll get back to you, and we can chat about what might be best for you. And don't
Awesome.
be afraid, you're not going to get high. People think, well, oh, that's the important thing. My products have less than, what is it, 1% THC, something like that. But it's just minute. It's not going to even show up in a blood or urine test. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so there's no reason not to if you really have pain and other things. I mean, I had one woman who had dementia, and her daughter put it in the occiput, the back of that indentation in the back of the neck, the head.
Mm-hmm.
And within a day, she was talking more. She was telling jokes. Um, Unfortunately, she passed away from other causes, but it can help with a lot of things. And in fact, I have a card that I can give people that tells them exactly all about CBD, what it does, and you know that kind of thing. So anyway,
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, thank you, Shoshana. This has been very, very interesting. Thank you for sharing your wisdom.
oh, thank you. Yeah, and all this came out of a carjacking that I had in California. I
Yeah.
went to a therapist, and but the West Coast is light years ahead of the East Coast when it comes to this kind of stuff. So you know, it's like
Yeah.
coming full circle. I became a different kind of nutritionist, not a registered dietitian, and
Yeah.
um, and I'm proud of that.
Wonderful. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been wonderful.
Oh, my pleasure.